Give me a keg of beer.
And a review for 1985's Teen Wolf. Let's go! Teen Wolf stars Michael J. Fox, Jerry Levine, James Hampton, Susan Ursitti, and is directed by Rod Daniel. What's up, guys? It is patron review time, and first off, just an apology to my patrons. This move has been brutal. You can see behind me right now, I don't have my normal backdrop, and it's been this way for the past couple weeks. Hopefully, we got 2 weeks left, and then we're actually going to be moving. Hopefully 2 weeks, not more. But yeah, it's been brutal, and my time has just been completely jam-packed, and also Halloween Kills, and I put a message out to my patrons too, but just wanted you guys to know from me personally, I don't take you guys for granted. I will be hitting those patron reviews really hard as soon as I get everything set back up, and making it up to you guys in a big way too, for sure. I thank my patrons so much for keeping me afloat and helping me to put out the best content I can. I can't thank you guys enough, okay? But anyway, this is a review for Migo Avila. If you are of a certain tier, then you can get a review in your honor. And thankfully, he asked me to review Teen Wolf, because Teen Wolf is a very important film to me from my childhood, okay? I almost said one of my favorite movies, and I guess it is, because I love Teen Wolf so much, I might prefer it over Back to the Future. I know that's crazy, and I know you're saying, Lee, you're insane for even thinking that, and I know that Back to the Future is a better made movie, but Teen Wolf has my heart, you know? I guess Back to the Future has my mind, Teen Wolf has my heart. There's just so much I love about that movie, you know? And I like that it's just like a small town vibe in this high school. And do I really need to give you a plot synopsis on Teen Wolf? It's about a teenager who becomes a werewolf. Do you need to know anymore? But for me, it's about like life lessons and characters, because you can have any story out there and it can be as silly as possible, a teenager becoming a werewolf. And as long as you have a good moral compass and kind of a lesson there that people can grab onto, and if you can make it relatable, then it can work. And it's also from the 80s, and I'm a teenager from the 80s. So this movie really hit home for me. But Michael J. Fox stars in this as Scott Howard, and he's our anchor of this movie, you know, and I think Michael J. Fox, to this day, is probably the most charismatic actor ever. There was something about him, like an aura about Michael J. Fox on the screen in the 80s that you could not help but just gravitate towards. He just had that magnetism that it's not an easy thing to have, you know? That it factor that only very few actors have, like Tom Cruise, you know, like Sylvester Stallone. There's just something about them that, you know, surpasses just basic acting knowledge, you know, because you can read the words on the paper and you can sound like a great actor, but going even further and really capturing your own stamp and building your own audience, your own fan base, just based on the way you deliver a line, that's not an easy thing to do at all. And Michael J. Fox was doing that from the beginning. It's like he was born with this ability. There's a reason why Family Ties was such a big hit. It was supposed to be the mother's show, but Michael J. Fox really stole the show. And everybody was watching week to week because of him. Now, going into the backstory of Teen Wolf, it's kind of interesting because they were shooting this at the same time that right down the street in Pasadena, they were shooting Back to the Future with Eric Stoltz. We all know the story of Eric Stoltz and how his performance just wasn't what they were looking for. He didn't have the comedic timing. Eric Stoltz is a great actor. I love Eric Stoltz. But he didn't have the comedic timing that was needed for that part. They wanted Michael J. Fox really bad, even before they got Eric Stoltz, but contractually, he couldn't get out of Family Ties. All the while, Michael J. Fox is shooting this movie that at the time he wasn't really proud of, and he was like, man, they're down the street shooting this movie with Steven Spielberg and Robert Zemeckis, and I'm over here being a Teen Wolf. And I don't blame him. it's a big difference between those two budget-wise. I mean, you had some big, heavy players behind the camera and in front of the camera in Back to the Future. But luckily, he still did do Teen Wolf, because Teen Wolf has a huge cult following, and one reason it works so well is because of, you know, the small town relatability to it and the characters.
His mother was a widow, all crippled up. She was scrubbing floors. She had this pin in her hip.
What happened to the kid?
I don't know, he quit. He's a third stringer. I didn't need him.
Really, it's kind of a coming-of-age story. This is a character that's dealing with all the normal problems that we have as a teenager. He is not really bullied, but he's just not popular. And I think if you had to relate to any character from your childhood, I think I've stated this before, I feel like I am the most like Scott Howard. When I was in high school, I wasn't this super popular guy, but I wasn't bullied or anything like that. I just kind of was going about my way. I was friendly, and I had my group of friends, just like Scott Howard. But I could never, in my mind, reach the status of, you know, the jocks or the rich kids, or just the popular kids. I was never that guy, you know. So I automatically related to this character so much, even before he became a werewolf. And the werewolf is just a metaphorical representation for achieving that goal. But what if you could do it and not really earn it, you know? And there's a line in this movie that's right out of Spider-Man: with great power comes great responsibility. He's given kind of the keys to the kingdom. He's given this popularity immediately, but he hasn't really earned it, or he never really even asked for it. But immediately he starts getting all this attention, and all of his classmates, you know, start lifting him up on high, putting him on their shoulders, and you know, looking up to him. I like that the first half of this movie is him basking in that glow and loving all the attention that he's receiving, you know. And then the second half of the movie is when his friends start seeing him for who he has changed into, and he is pushing his friends away, even though he doesn't even realize it. And so he starts noticing that they are pulling away from him. And so there's a good lesson there, like never forget where you come from, and be careful for what you wish for, because it might not be as great as you think it is. Sometimes the best thing is what's right there in front of you. You know, there's a love triangle aspect of this movie too.
You looking for someone in particular?
Not you. There you go. She said 2 words to you.
Where he's pining for this girl, Pamela. You know, she is like the most popular girl in the school, and he just wants to be with her. And one of his best friends, Boof, is the person he should be with. This is kind of like Some Kind of Wonderful, which is another fantastic movie, which stars Eric Stoltz. I don't know about you guys, but I was always Team Boof. You know, I always wanted Scott to, you know, go for her. Don't go for that girl. Go for Boof. Boof is, she's real. You know, there's more below the surface. The other girl was just dressing. I guess Boof is a good transition into, like, one of my favorite scenes from this movie is the party at the house. You know, there's some really fun and funny moments in Teen Wolf. You know, when he's going to the store, the liquor store, and, you know, give me a keg of beer.
Give me a keg of beer.
And by the way, shout out to Donald Newton. I believe he said that guy is his uncle. No ID, no goddamn beer. That guy. So that's really cool. But, you know, this movie's just made up of so many great scenes like that. But then in the party, his friend Styles, which, by the way...
Yeah, you and Pamela and a bunch of chickens.
Boof, how the hell are you?
Say no.
No.
Great talking to you.
Jerry Levine, Styles is easily one of the best side characters I think ever created. Like, that's what you want to strive for in a supporting character. Styles is that guy that everybody wants to be. He's just so freaking cool. To me, I feel like Styles was too good for everybody else in the school. They didn't really know how to take him, and that's why he wasn't in, like, the popular kids group. I guess the jocks, all that stuff. To me, Styles would be the guy that would probably go on to be, you know, successful and rich after high school. But the party is just such a fun scene, and this is the moment where, you know, they get locked in the closet, And he's in the moment with Booth, and he starts wolfing out. Also, the scene where he becomes the werewolf for the first time in the mirror. I just love the way that scene is played out because this is in the 80s. There was no CGI at the time. And so it can be a little hairy, no pun intended, trying to pull off a werewolf transformation. A couple years before, we had American Werewolf in London. So to try to compete with that is going to automatically make you fall on your face. And I think they handled it perfectly. You know, just a couple of cuts from the camera back and forth, and then you know, it's just like he goes from just a little bit of hair on his face to boom, he's a werewolf. But it works. Because it's not about that. This isn't a movie about the practical effects. At the end of the day, he looks kind of silly as the werewolf, but when you're watching the movie, you forget all that stuff. Also, Mick, played by Mark Arnold. This was the most one-dimensional villain. You know, the 80s were full of these type of characters. But I think Mick might be one of the best played out, because if you have a villain, especially in the 80s, you want to make them kind of as one-dimensional as possible for effect, kind of like Drago from Rocky IV. Mick was kind of like the Drago. There was not a single likable trait to Mick at all, and they did that on purpose. This was a guy that was there for one purpose, and that is just to make Scott Howard's life a living hell throughout. He really symbolizes that guy or that thing that's always in front of you, telling you, you can't win, you can't do this, you will fall on your face, don't even try it, you know, shoot it, fat boy. That's Mick. But also like Bobby Finstock, you know, with the 3 rules.
Let me give you a little advice. There's 3 rules that I live by. Never get less than 12 hours sleep. Never play cards with a guy who's got the same first name as a city. And never go near a lady who's got a tattoo of a dagger on her body. Now you stick with that. Everything else is cream cheese.
So much great stuff in Teen Wolf. Like, I could literally sit here and talk for an hour about every freaking scene in Teen Wolf because it all counts. There's not a dry spot in Teen Wolf. It's so fun. Guys, if I could cut in here real quick, there's one thing that I forgot to mention about Teen Wolf, and it's probably the most important thing about the movie. The ending. I can't believe, sometimes you get so wrapped up in what you're saying in a review that you forget the most important thing, the message of the movie. The message of the movie is that even though he had all these powers, you know, to be able to beat any one person or a group of people, you know, because he was pretty much showboating throughout the whole movie as the wolf while he was playing basketball. And the point of the movie is you don't need that. You know, at the end, they're wanting him to become the wolf. And he says, no, I play, but I will not be the wolf. And this is where I start getting chill bumps, because I love this moment in the movie. He says, we can do this, guys. If we come together, we can beat these guys. Even though if I had to pick it apart, there was no like training, or I think they should have had a scene or a montage there where they're like training to get ready as a group. But anyway, still, he said, we can do this. We don't need the wolf. And it's a very powerful, powerful message, you know, that we're all human beings, right? None of us have superpowers. So we can accomplish anything with preparation, and in this case, with teamwork. Finally, he respected the power of his teammates. He couldn't do it by himself, you know, because he didn't have the wolf. By doing that, they still win the game, and he regains his self-respect. Beautiful, beautiful message. And I also didn't mention the very controversial scene at the end during that beautiful moment when you see the person from the stands walk down and their fly is open. And for years and years, everybody thought that that was a guy when it was actually a girl. So, yeah, but anyway, back to the review. So I'm giving Teen Wolf a Trapped on an Island, of course. Thank you, Migo. You know, and I did a commentary on Teen Wolf last year. Was it last year or maybe earlier this year? I don't know, but it was a lot of fun to talk about. Let me know what you guys think of Teen Wolf, and also give me like your favorite 80s comedy in the comments. I'm curious to see what you guys think. Also, be sure to come over to Killer Flicks, where we talk horror all day and every day, and on Fridays we do Free For All Fridays. Also, never get less than 12 hours of sleep. Never play cards with a guy who has the first name as a city, and never get involved with a lady with a tattoo of a dagger on her body. You do that and everything else is cream cheese.